Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Deputy Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and you're very welcome. I suppose before I start, I should say one of the reasons you're here, I suppose, arises out of our concern, and our only concern here in this committee is to ensure that public money is spent as it should be to promote the objectives of funding which is allocated specifically to help sport, and I suppose specifically we're talking about money going directly to the Irish Sports Council. So to the extent that you promote participation in sport and encourage and improve high performance are the two objectives, I think, that public money, the pursuit of public money and that its proper disbursement is our major concern. Now, we've had, as you are aware, the Irish Sports Council and also the Olympic Council of Ireland in here, and their presentations and the follow-up correspondence which we received from both bodies, and I needn't tell you that AAI was mentioned and on several occasions. Their correspondence and their reports do not somehow sit with your report to us. It's as if they were written by people from two different planets. You know, you say you have a great relationship with the Sports Council, and yet the Sports Council said to us they're trying to get AAI to put sports on the agenda. You know, if the Sports Council are saying that about the Athletics Association of Ireland, then clearly the relationship isn't that great. What else did they say? Of course, quite apart from what they said, they withdrew funding from AAI and was funding it on a monthly basis. And the reason given was until governance issues were resolved. Now, I suppose my question is, have the governance issues been resolved? I hear on the grapevine that full funding has been resumed. Is that the case? What other governance issues required resolving, and how were they resolved? I suppose the issue that really is of concern, and I'm sure I speak for everybody here, is reports of the amount of money, you know, being spent by the organisation on legal fees. And now I think the association has said that the legal fees are coming from your own resources, but I mean, I think that's a bit of a moot point, to be honest. But wherever it comes from, it certainly takes funding from sport, and certainly takes the fact that these cases have been going on and the disagreements that seem to exist, not just within AAI, but between AAI and the Irish Sports Council, are just not conducive to getting the best result in terms of either people's attention and focus, which should be on the athletes and promoting sport, and in fact it's on, you know, personality issues, and you know, the sense that we get that it's all about who's in the boys' club and who isn't, who's on the inside, who's on the outside, getting your man in the right place, who you're friends with, who's empire building, who's on ego trips. It just gives a terribly bad impression. And one of the reasons, I suppose, that we are, you know, we're having this third interview, and we're having the minister in now later on after the summer, which has just been agreed, is our desire to have all of these issues resolved so that money spent is put to the purpose for which it is actually allocated and voted. Very scarce taxpayers' money, I should add. It just seems that things have got completely out of hand, and I'd like to hear back from you that it's resolved. And how is it resolved? Is there exposure in terms of, you know, further money that has to be spent, perhaps to buy out a contract? If that is the case, how much money is that? There's also the question of why this ended up in the courts. I mean, there is Just Sport Ireland, a facility available to provide arbitration in just this kind of a case. And could I also ask why that particular route was not chosen by the association, if I could? Thank you.
Deputy Upton.
Thanks, Chairman, and yeah, I'd like to welcome the delegation and thank them for their presentation. And from, you know, what the President has presented, it's very positive in terms of what's happening with athletics in the country. But I suppose the reason that we specifically asked for this presentation today is because of the concern both in the public arena and indeed from the presentations we've had from the Irish Sports Council, the Olympic Council, and indeed correspondence that I believe a number of us have received from various people with an interest in athletics. I don't think we've ever had a delegation where we haven't had the chief executive of the organisation here to present to make the presentation, or at least be there as support, as part of the group. So I'm just curious as to why the Chief Executive Officer is not here today and whether or not she was invited. In relation to the funding, I think we have to ask the question about the reasons, or your understanding of the reasons perhaps, that the Irish Sports Council was what you might call drip feeding the funding to your association over a number of months. And now I understand in the last week or two or whenever that there is a commitment given that the full funding will be made available. You might be able to shed some light on, first of all, the reason for the drip feeding on a monthly basis, the impact that that has on the association, and now the reasons, if you're aware of them, that the money should become available. I believe that the uncertainty around the funding has been damaging for the association, and there has to be reasons behind that that have to be teased out and I think sorted out as well. It's quite clear from everything we hear, both from the presentations from other groups and from correspondence received, that there is internal friction in your organisation, and particularly in relation to the Chief Executive Officer. Now, I would like to know from you, Chairman, I suppose as President of the Association, what action you have taken to resolve these difficulties. You've stated here that strong progress has been made, saying we are working diligently through these tough times, and strong progress has been made, which will be welcome news to everyone who cares about athletics in the country. And I would like to know exactly what that level of progress is and how it reflects on the current status of the Chief Executive Officer of the Association within the Association. I think it's no secret to any of us here that there are problems there. It's also my understanding that the Irish Sports Council are very proactive within the control and management, it would appear to me, and indeed the funding of your organisation. And you might just clarify for us the role of the Irish Sports Council in relation to the current position of your Chief Executive Officer, and whether or not that your board has held various meetings following meetings with the Irish Sports Council in relation to the position of the Chief Executive Officer. And finally, in relation to the legal fees, I think this is something that, because it's public